What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some crazy battles in the regular Halloween Cup where I gained over 130 elo running the newly released Morpeko alongside a double Krok backline with Crocodile and Kroks. And actually I could have hit expert rank during these battles if the game didn't decide to just randomly completely stop working in one of my battles and grant me with an instant loss. Now, having seen a few content creators already showcase Morpeko, this thing looks like it can absolutely get out of hand if you're not fully prepared for it, which is why I decided to bring two of the hardest counters with that ground and dark typing to resist all of its typical moves. But in the end I actually only ended up facing one Morpeko, which was a comfortable win. But this typing seems to be core breaking tons of teams anyway, as there are of course loads of poison types in the meta, and it can deal with most ghost types and a lot of dark types as well. Of course this is a triple dark team, so we are very weak to fighting fairy and bug, but I don't think I saw any fighters. I did see two Wigglytuff, but actually I was able to beat one of them, and then I also saw a pretty interesting double bug bite team, but honestly not a lot of hard counters to this team, so it did work well. But of course if you do start to see lots of Wigglytuff, I probably wouldn't recommend running this team. But also one more thing I want to say is that this is one of the best league rotations we've had in a while, and especially with the Great League Remix you can run a lot of unique stuff, so I definitely encourage you guys to submit some spicy battles during this rotation. And also I want to give a quick shout out to both Alan and Colin L for their donations and gifted memberships in my recent live streams. As always, I very much appreciate the support, and with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. What do you think is the most fun Pokemon to run in the Go Battle League right now? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle, leading Morpeko into a Shadow Golux. Of course, not very good for us. Gonna say swap into my Crocodile and baiting out a Azumarill. So of course, things aren't looking too good for us so far. I'm running Brick Break on that say swap Crocodile. That way I can flip certain matchups. Unfortunately, Azumarill is not one of them, but we do grab a shield advantage as I did over farm. They're gonna go straight for the Ice Beam, taking us out. We can come back in with the Morpeko, and there's no point throwing a Charge Boost straight away. I know that I can over farm massively, farm up to at least back-to-back Aura Wheels before throwing a charge move. And now for anyone who hasn't seen Morpeko in action yet, every time you throw a charge move its form will change, and the typing of Aura Wheel will change as well. So now we've got the potential to nuke a Golurk with the Aura Wheel Dark. So we're going to grab a shield with the Psychic Fangs, the final shield, gonna swap into my Kroks, and I'm going to no shield this as the opponent goes for a Shadow Punch that actually does more damage than I was expecting, but the opponent swaps out into Galissapod, and that is huge for me. This is our lifeline. We're going for the Crunch. Crunch does drop their defense, which is very nice, and now we can come in with our Morpeko. Of course this is a bug type Pokemon. They're gonna go for the X's, but I can farm up to back-to-back charge moves. Gonna go and fire off the Psychic Fangs, and once again as we're throwing a charge move, our typing of that Aura Wheel will change back to the dark typing, and we can now throw it into the Golurk. Coming back in, Aura Wheel gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there. Into next battle, you can see a Guzzlord in the lead. So once again, not very good for us. Gonna say swap into my Crocodile, and the opponent comes in with Ariados. Now I'm going to shield the first charge move here, as the opponent is going to fire off a Trailblaze. So honestly, that is probably slightly better for me, just because if they go for lunge, then they probably don't even need to shield here. But I'm gonna go for a Brick Break, as I realize I can throw back-to-back Brick Breaks. If they are counting and they know the energy generation here, then they do know the next move is also just gonna be a Brick Break, so they do no shield. But I'm hoping with a double debuff to their defense, maybe we can Thundershock farm them down before they make it to the next charge move. So we're going to try it with the Morpeko, and unfortunately barely not able to do so. Now of course Psychic Fangs would be less energy, but I want to boost up my attack here. It doesn't really matter which typing we've got here, as of course Guzzlord going to resist both the dark and the electric typing, but we're boosted. That still does huge damage. Now we can swap into our Kroks. I'm going to no shield this. They might be on Brutal Swing and Sludge Bomb, and the opponent does go for a Brutal Swing there, which is resisted damage. They're now going to swap into Toxapex, and I realize they're probably not going to shield, so I'm going to full send the Earthquake here. Earthquake gets no shielded, it gets the one shot, and now we can just Mud Slap, farm down the Guzzlord to take that game. So GG to opponent there. Into next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Grimer, probably running Mud Slap. They are running Mud Slap, so we're going to swap into our own Mud Slap user. And of course, we're hitting for super effective damage here. So the opponent going to fire off a charge move, they go for the Mud Bomb, and then they swap into Greninja. And this is where Brick Break will be very handy. Brick Break going to hit for super effective damage. It grabs a shield. The opponent will throw straight away, so I'm going to no shield this, as the opponent is going to go straight for a Hydro Cannon, guaranteeing the KO there. We're going to, of course, come back in with our Morpeko, and I probably will actually use a a shield here, just because Hydro Cannon will get the KO, and I don't know if I would be able to Mud Slap farm them down. So instead, I'm going to use the shield there, going to farm up to back-to-back Psychic Fangs. I'm hoping this is enough damage to get the KO. It's a little bit risky here, but we grabbed the shield and we've dropped their defense, and now this should definitely get the KO, despite being non-stab, double resisted, and it does take them out there. We can see they come straight back in with the Grimer. They're going to have a Alolan Raticate in the back, and once again, we're going straight for the Earthquake. This is why I'm running Kroks as the closer. Earthquake gets the one shot, and we can Mud Slap farm down the Grimer, so the opponent just concedes the match. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle, and this is the worst lead we can possibly see here because we are just taking so much damage from these charms. Luckily for me, the opponent does actually lag there, so I think they are one turn behind, meaning I can throw a Psychic Fangs and also not take the damage from the next charm that should have come through there, which is quite nice because it means I can swap out of the Morpeko there, come in with my Crocodile, go for another debuff to their defense with the Brick Break, although it's still not looking good for us. Now honestly, I thought I'd live one more charm, so I thought I could go for 2 Thunder Shocks, throw a Psychic Fangs, and possibly take out the Wigglytuff, but that hugely backfires, as now they can permanently debuff my attack there. We can make it to a Crunch. Crunch will, of course, despite being debuffed, be enough damage to take out the Shadow Golurk, but we're just too low here. They come back in with the Wigglytuff, they don't farm me down, and you can see, if we had just a little bit more health there, honestly, we could have won that game up against the Shadow Drapion, but just Charm too oppressive up against his team. So GG's to opponent there into next battle, and this is one of the first battles I did, and honestly, I didn't really play it like an ABB style team, which I definitely should have done because, of course, it is an ABB style team. We need to swap out of the lead matchups where, of course, Mud Slap going to be very good there. So honestly, not very good, and you can see they come in with Azumarill, so we are very low on that Morpeko there, so not ideal for us in the slightest. Again, I do overfarm this time, unfortunately not grabbing a shield, but we're able to CMP tie them with the Crunch, and they are already debuffed. So Crunch, not the best move there, but it's also going to debuff their defense by a second time, so very nice for me. They're going to undercharge the Ice Beam, that makes a lot of sense, but now the Mud Slaps are chunking. We can come back in with the Morpeko, and my aim is just to force the opponent to throw their energy straight away. They're going to do exactly that as they go for the Ice Beam. We can now come in with the Krokorok. The opponent swaps into their Shadow Drapion, but they end up throwing on alignment. They go for the Aqua Tail there, but now we can commit to a full Mud Slap farm down, and let's see what they've got in the back. Are they going to come back in with the Azumarill, or will they reveal their third Pokemon? And they do reveal it's a Shadow Sableye, and with an energy advantage, this is a very positive matchup for us. Of course, first of all, going to resist everything they can possibly throw, but I realize Azumarill might be able to bubble farm me down if we no shield a foul play, so the safe play is to just go and shield that up, go straight for a Crunch. Crunch from this range takes out the Shadow Sableye, and from this range we can also Mud Slap, farm down Azumarill, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. You can see Morpeko into a Malamar. So this is a fairly neutral matchup here. Not really any reason for me to swap out of this matchup. We're going straight for Aura Wheel here. Of course, no point baiting. Baiting would be very stupid as it is triple resisted up against the Dark and Psychic typing. But now they are in range where a Psychic Fangs will get the KO. So I'm able to grab a shield. I'm hoping I could swap out there and also get a Mud Slap through on that swap. But unfortunately, it backfires as I'm not able to do so. I'm pretty sure Malamar left with a superpower loaded though, so I'm going to be very wary of that, but I'm able to make it to a last second Crunch. Crunch is going to drop their defense once again. At this point we can come in with our Krokorok. I will shield this just because they might be running Mega Horn actually. It might be viable in this meta, but even so, an Earthquake would do a lot of damage up against our Krokorok, so I used my shield there, but let's see what the opponent wants to do. I'm still pretty sure that they have a superpower on that Malamar, but they come in with the Morpeko, and this is game over. This is where it's just so dominant in this matchup. We go for a Crunch there, we drop their defense, look at the Mud Slap damage. I can, of course, no shield this. Aura Wheel was double resisted there, and it still does about 50% of our HP, but it doesn't matter. It's game over, so the opponent just concedes the match. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. You can see a Jellicent in the lead, so very good for us, but they safe swap into a Shadow Razor Leaf Victory Bell, and honestly, I don't know what to do here. We're going to go for the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs grabs the shield, and I will have to swap out here as I'm realizing I'm not making it to a second Psychic Fangs, which is absolutely awful for me, as my backline is also weak to Razor Leaf. They go for the Acid Spray, and we are just barely able to make it to a Brick Break, getting damage registration error, which is very lucky for me, as we do take them out. But unfortunately, we are debuffed in our defense, so we're not able to make it to a Crunch. Hopefully we grab a shield anyways, but but no, the opponent calls that it's just the Brick Break there, so that is very, very much unfortunate there. We're going to come in with the Kroks. I'm going to try and make a catch here, and then I tried to commit to the Aura Wheel, thinking the opponent's going to go for a full farm down. I should have just gone for a Psychic Fangs there. Could have possibly grabbed the shield. Of course, they're going to make it to another Surf here, and so the opponent fires off a Surf, and they've actually got a Shadow Cacturn in the back, so a very spicy backline there from the opponent, and unfortunately, there's just nothing we can do. I full send the Earthquake, hoping the opponent would no shield, but of course, they're not going to do that. And of course, the opponent makes it to the Trailblaze, easily taking out the Kroks, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. So GG's opponent there into next battle. You can see a Toxapex in the lead. So the opponent is going to stay in this matchup, which is a bit of a strange decision here, but maybe they are core broken by the Morpeko. We're going straight for Aura Wheel, and we are going to, of course, boost up our attack there. Next time we throw the Aura Wheel, it will be the Dark typing, but that's fine with me. I'm going to no-shield this, and then I'm going to swap into my Crocodile, and we're able to bait out a Guzzlord, which honestly is not a bad matchup for us whatsoever. We go straight for Brick Break. Brick Break going to drop their defense. It also hits for super effective damage, and now I can just shield this and go for a full Mudslap farm down, which is going to be very ideal here as we can come out with a Crunch loaded. And let's see what the opponent wants to do. The opponent is going to wait out their Switch Clock in the full and then come in with a Sableye. So this is looking very good for us. I'm going for the Crunch here. I'm hoping the opponent just no shields, and they do no shield. And now I don't know if I was going to make it to the Brick Break there. We swap back into the Morpeko here. I'm going for a Psychic Fangs, and we grab the shield up against the Sableye, and that should be game over. Kroks is bulky enough to live a Brine fairly comfortably, so I think the safe play is actually shielding up a potential return here from the Sableye. I'm going to shield this up here as the opponent goes and fires off a Foul Play, which is a very strange bait. Doesn't make sense there as they were only making one charge move, but either way, it doesn't matter. I should be able to live a Brine here. We've just been credited with the energy for an Earthquake, so I'm going to throw it straight away, and of course, Earthquake up against the Toxapex will be enough to take out the Toxapex, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's opponent there into next battle. Going to see Toxapex in the lead. They're going to say swap into Guzzlord, and this time unfortunately we are a bit slow to swap out there, so they outpace me to the first charge move. They're going to go for a Dragon Claw here, and this is a matchup that we can maintain if they let one charge move go through, but I think the Dragon Tail is just doing a lot of damage here. Guzzlord is definitely a lot bulkier than the Crocodile, and at this point I'm actually going to let the Crocodile go down. They go for Dragon Claw there, but I'm thinking we did just face the previous team like twice in a row, so at this point it's probably going to be the same team once again. So at this point I'm actually going to come in with my Morpeko here, gonna no shield as they go for a Dragon Claw, realizing that, well, I thought they were going to have a Sableye in the back, but it's actually a Shadow Golurk this time around, and unfortunately that's going to be game over. The opponent knows not to shield there as we could have only gone for a Electric or a Wheel, and now it's game over. We can go for a Crunch there, but the opponent can commit to a full Mudslap farm down, getting a simultaneous KO there, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's opponent there into next battle. We're going to see a Shadow Drapion. This time we're going to say swap straight away, and we're able to bait out the Azumarill immediately. And again, we're going to overfarm. I actually don't know if I have farmed up to a potential Earthquake, but either way, we're going to go for the Brick Break there, and we still force the opponent to throw, not straight away, but still throwing a charge move. I think worst case scenario would be if the opponent just commits to a full bubble farm down, but now we can come back in with the Morpeko, and again, we're not going to throw straight away here. We're actually not even able to do so, but this is actually just an Ice Beam, so I'm going to no shield this. The opponent then swaps into a Sableye, so just going straight for the Aura Wheel, and the Shadow Sableye just barely tanks it, but we're able to get the Thunder Shock farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come back in with the Drapion. We bank a charge move there. We come in with our Kroks, and I'm hoping we can go for a full Mudslap farm down before the opponent reaches back-to-back Aqua Tails, but we're just barely not able to do so. That is definitely painful. They go for the Aqua Tail, grab my final shield here, and of course Azumarill will be able to take us out with either a Play Rough or an Ice Beam, but I'm at back-to-back crunches here. Going for the first one, Crunch grabs the shield. We don't get the defense drop, but I go for one extra Mudslap, making sure to throw as late as possible on the CMP tie. Again, grabbing a shield, no defense drop once again, but did I bank the Aura Wheel here? We're about to find out that yes, we did bank it. It's back to the Electric typing, and of course, Electric Aura Wheel takes out the Azumarill, and I'm able to take that game. So GG set up there into the next battle. You can see Azumarill in the lead this time around. They're going to say swap into a Shadow Sableye, so we're just going to stay in, go straight for an Aura Wheel here. No point baiting. Aura Wheel is going to one-shot the Sableye. They're going to come in with the Shadow Golurk, so we're going to swap into our Kroks here, and I did think about no shielding this, but I might as well just stay in, use my shield here, go for a crunch, grab a shield back from the Shadow Golurk. If they commit to a farm down, then that's okay. They're only going to reach a Shadow Punch up against my Crocodile, and so here we're going to come in with the Crocodile, just going to no shield this. As the opponent will throw the charge through straight away, going to be a Shadow Punch there, and then I will swap straight away into my Morpeko, but it's still going to be slightly tricky here. Of course, Azumarill is a Fairy-type Pokemon. Play rough, going to one-shot us. Even an Ice Beam, honestly, from this range, will probably get the KO. So we've got two win conditions here, either grabbing a shield with the Psychic Fangs, and then landing an Electric Aura Wheel, or we could have gone for the Aura Wheel straight away and had it no-shielded, and unfortunately, it's just not looking good here. If the opponent knows about the form changes, they know that that could only be a Dark-type Aura Wheel, but the opponent didn't realize that, so they end up shielding the Psychic Fangs bait, allowing me to make it to the Electric Aura Wheel, taking out Azumarill, and I'm able to take that game. So GG set up there into the next battle. You can see Guzzlord in the lead once again. So I think this was the battle directly after the battle where I lagged out. So I'm going to no-shield this, and then we're going to see, we take the Dragon Claw not that comfortably. I tried to go for good timing there. I didn't realize Dragon Claw was going to take us out, so unfortunately, we just lost a game there where we shouldn't have lost because we lagged out, and now we are just playing like an absolute potato here, so it is really affecting me right now. We're going to go for the Brick Break here, going to throw on the CMP tie. Brick Break is going to be shielded, and that does kind of imply that they are weak to the well, maybe the ground typing in the back, so I'm going to no-shield, and they swap into a Shadow Drapion, and I realize here they will make it to back-to-back Aqua Tails before I get a full farm down, unless I go for a crunch, grab a shield, and debuff their defense. So this is my win condition, and unfortunately we don't get that debuff there. You can see as a result they live on 1 HP and a Dream. Fire off the Aqua Tail. It doesn't take us out there, but of course it puts us into farm down range for the Guzzlord, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG set up in their next battle, and this is another battle I did fairly early on with this team. I'm going straight for Aura Wheel. Of course, I've got two Pokemon in the back that do learn Mud Slap, but we go for the Aura Wheel. I thought that would get the KO there. I'm just unfamiliar with this matchup. Honestly, surprised Marwile lives there, and unfortunately, that does mean that Morpeko gets very low, and they come in with a Wigglytuff, which is definitely not ideal for me. But we can go for a Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs, no shielded. Honestly, I would prefer that they no-shielded that, just because we're not going to be able to deal that much damage up against them, and then they come in with a Sableye. So don't know why they swapped out there. I guess they clear the debuff, but that is actually fine with me. We can go for the crunch. I'm definitely going to shield this as the opponent fires off a charge move. And now, of course, we can just go straight for a Brick Break into the Wigglytuff coming back in. Going to fire off immediately, and then I will swap into my Krokorok. They're going to be permanently debuffed for the rest of this game, and despite, of course, charm hitting for huge damage, I'm able to go for a full Mud-type farm down. Just going to play it safe here, use my final shield. Icy Wind grabs the shield, but we get the KO with the Mud Slap, and I'm able to take that game. So GG shot up there into the next battle. Wow, trying to talk way faster than I'm able to do so. Into the next battle, we see Greninja in the lead. So they're going to bait with a Night Slash, which is unfortunate. They're going to swap into a Toxapex. So I'm going straight for the Aura Wheel, dealing well. We actually didn't see how much damage that dealt there because the animation kind of skipped, but either way, we dealt a lot of damage there. We're then going to go for another Aura Wheel because I want to just continue boosting up my attack. Honestly, should have overfarmed a little bit more than I did there. They then come in with a Shadow Amoonguss, and this is definitely very scary for our team. We're going to go for the Psychic Fangs there, and we're going to drop their defense. And then, honestly, I don't know why I swapped into the Crocodile. I should have swapped into my Krokorok because, of course, Crocodile does have that Brick Break for the Greninja, making it slightly more comfortable. But now, we're not really in a good position, but they swap back into Greninja. They're going to fire off a Charge Reef. This could be a Hydro Cannon, so I will respect it. They bait again, so unfortunately, I will not be able to go for a full Mud Slap farm down. Instead, going to fire off the Crunch here. Crunch is going to be no-shielded. They come back in with the Amoonguss, and this is going to come down to whether I'm able to catch a Charge Reef or not. We're going to go for the Crunch. Crunch is going to be shielded. We're going to overfarm here, and then we just randomly swap here, and it ends up being perfect as I'm able to catch a Foul Play, but they're not going to make it to another Charge Move. So Mud Slap gets the farm down, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to open their into next battle. You can see Toxapex in the lead, so this is a great matchup for us once again. We're going to go and throw the Aura Wheel straight away. Once again, this won't quite get the one shot, and the opponent does know that, so they do actually let that go through. But now we can shield this and then go for a huge farm down. So the opponent going to go for the Brine there. They then swap into Shadow Golurk, and honestly, I probably should have baited here. It's pretty clear. I'm just going to go straight for an Aura Wheel, and the threat of it completely one-shotting them is going to guarantee a shield there. So should have just debuffed their defense. But either way, this is fine. We're going to come in with the Kroks, and that does so much damage, and unfortunately we actually get Mud Slap farm down there, so that is definitely not ideal. Shadow Golurk is definitely a slight issue for this team, despite of course having two dark types in the back. The Mud Slap damage does just put us into range where Shadow Punch is pretty threatening, and they've got a Dragapult in the back, so very spicy from the opponent there with their backline. Gonna go straight for a crunch there, and I need to make a catch. I'm trying to make the catch, but unfortunately the opponent is able to make the perfect catch instead, catching a Psychic Fangs there. Psychic Fangs, I do undercharge it, but it still does a lot of damage, and either way, it's game over. They've got back-to-back charge moves already, so even if this didn't KO, they'd throw another one straight away. But Breaking Swipe does get the KO, as Dragapult is very attack weighted, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG to open their into next battle. You can see a Mandibuzz in the lead. They're going to save swap into Shadow Drapion, and we're able to respond straight away with our Krookodile. Now the opponent goes for the Aquatail. We can live one Aquatail there, so I let the first one go through, and they're going to fire off a Brick Break on the CMP tie here. Brick Break is going to be shielded, and of course I'm just going to mash shield, maintain alignment, and as I realize Morpeko has a very good matchup up against the Mandibuzz. We get the farm down there, they come back in with the Mandibuzz, and actually on Air Slash, which is even better for us because they're going to be slower to generate energy. We're able to debuff their defense, they swap, and they've got Toxapex in the back, so once again just going straight for the Aura Wheel. Aura Wheel is going to be shielded this time around, but we can swap into our Krokorok here, and again we've already seen this, we can live a Brine reasonably comfortably. They won't be able to Poison Jab farm me down, and I could commit to the Earthquake, but I'm actually going to go and fire off a Crunch, and either this will allow me to farm them down, or it will force the opponent to throw their energy, and either is fine with me. Doesn't really matter, we don't need the Krokorok anymore. Morpeko is my win condition, so we come in with the Morpeko, they come in with the Mandibuzz, and we're going to resist everything here, so I actually don't need to shield this, and for the sake of it, I'm going to no shield just to see how much damage that does, and that does not do much damage whatsoever, but Aura Wheel does huge damage, boosting up our attack. We get one Thunder Shock, gets the KO, one Thunder Shock takes out the Toxapex as well, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. We're going to see a Shadow Golurk in the lead. So once again, going to be safe swapping into my Krookodile. Going to fire off the Crunch here, and Crunch is going to be shielded. And at this point, I'm just going to let the Krookodile go down. No point in shielding here, as they will either be able to reach back-to-back charge moves or just fully Mud Slap farming down there. So instead, going to come in with the Krokorok, and the opponent will swap out of that matchup into a Toxapex. Now, unfortunately, they will just barely outpace me before I'm able to make it to an Earthquake. So instead, I'm going to go for the Crunch this time, and then swap into my Morpeko, and we're going to go for a Psychic Fangs immediately, but I'm actually going to undercharge this just because I realize it probably won't quite take them out anyways. So I might as well undercharge that, and this will allow me to farm them down and hopefully come out very close to an Aura Wheel up against that Golurk. But unfortunately, we're not quite there, so we should be able to live one charge move, but they actually swap, one fast move there, but they come in with the Quillfish instead, and we go straight for Aura Wheel, and the opponent does not respect the damage, and that's just going to be straight away game over, as of course, we can just Mud Slap, farm down the Golurk, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to open their into next battle, and this was the very interesting double Bug Bite team that I did end up facing. With Wormadam Trash here, we're going to, of course, deal a lot of chip damage there with the Aura Wheel, and then swap into my Krookodile. I'm definitely just going to shield this up here. Could be a Bug Buzz. It ends up being an Iron Head bait, which probably would have taken us out anyways with the Bug Bite damage, so it doesn't really matter. But either way, going to shield that up. They come back in with Greninja, and we're going straight for a Brick Break. Brick Break is going to be no shielded the first time around, which does make sense, but they are able to win CMP up against us the second time around, so they go for a Night Slash. Night Slash does get the KO there. We are going to come in with Krokorok just because I assume they're going to swap out straight away, and they do, but they're running a Bug Bite Fortress, and of course, Fortress did gain access to Volt Switch this season. I would much prefer to see Volt Switch up against my team, but unfortunately, they're running Bug Bite, and Bug Bite will be able to absolutely shred through us. It's not the best fast move ever, but of course, up against a triple Dark team, it's going to do pretty well. So we're going to go straight for the Aura Wheel once again. This is my win condition. Unfortunately, they do end up shielding, and this one, it's going to be game over. They actually have quite a lot of energy already. They're going to fire for charge move. This could be an Earthquake, and it is going to be the Earthquake just for the sake of it. I think Mirror Shot probably would have taken us out anyways, but GG's to that opponent there. Very unique team, so very cool to see. But into the next battle, we're going to see a Greninja in the lead. They're going to say swap into a Clodsire, so I'm going to go straight for the Psychic Fangs, going to be no-shielded by the opponent, and then I can swap into my Crocodile, and this should just guarantee a very easy Mud Slap farm down. Although if they do bait here, they might be able to land an Earthquake, but they force in the Earthquake here, so I don't think they will make it to another Earthquake. This should just be either a Sludge Bomb or a Stone Edge. Both resisted, and we are going to see the Stone Edge hitting. It doesn't do much damage. If they come back in with the Greninja, we've got back-to-back Brick Breaks already, so going to fire off the first one. Brick Break is going to be shielded by the opponent, and this means that if they let the next Brick Break go through, it's going to do a ton of damage, and they do let it go through, and the opponent just lets us fully farm them down. They're committing to a shield and their Shadow Grimer, but unfortunately for them, we have a second Crocodile in the bag. We can just safely shield this up, go for the Mud Slap farm down, and we're able to take out the Shadow Grimer and take that game. So GG to opponent there. Into the next battle, we can see a Galarian Moltres in the lead. So a great matchup for us. They're going to say swap into Clodsire. This time we're actually going to swap into our Crocodile straight away, just because I realized that energy is not going to be that useful on my Crocodile, so there's no point in debuffing them, then getting a full Mud Slap farm down to come out with a ton of energy if that energy isn't really going to be that useful up against the Galarian Moltres. Unfortunately, do make it to a last second charge there as they get damage registration error, but it is just a Sludge Bomb, so that's okay. We're going to go for 3 Mud Slaps, then fire off a Brick Break here. This thing does learn Outrage, so I was hoping maybe I could grab a shield there if I overfarmed. Unfortunately, the opponent does just correctly let that go through, and because they landed the Sludge Bomb, they can commit to a full farm down just before we make it to a third Brick Break, which is very unfortunate. We're going to no-shield the first move here as the opponent goes for an Ancient Power, and then we do stutter there, which is not ideal as we do miss a Thunder Shock. We're going to shield this as an Ancient Power would do quite a lot of damage at that point, and then they swap into a Toxapex. And honestly, this might be the first time I've seen a shiny Toxapex. It's actually quite a cool looking shiny, but either way, we land the Aura Wheel. I'm going to bank another Aura Wheel, swap, catch the Brine, onto my Krokorok. Once again, we know we can live this pretty comfortably. Going to go for the Mud Slap farm down, and I need to make it to a crunch before the opponent makes it to the Ancient Power, and we're able to get there. Either that or they just chose to commit to a full farm down, but that will backfire for the opponent, as of course I did just bank the Aura Wheel. We can fire off straight away into the Moltres coming back in, and of course Aura Wheel, even if it was the Dark typing, would get the KO from this range. It easily takes out the Moltres, and I'm able to take that game. So GG to opponent there. Into the next battle, you can see Clodsire in the lead, so going to say swap into my Crocodile, and the opponent responds with Azumarill. So once again, definitely not ideal for us. Again, I'm going to farm up to close to back-to-back Brick Breaks here, so Brick Break is going to be no-shielded by the opponent, but again, they do throw their energy, so that's fine with me. Again, worst case scenario would be if they just committed to a full farm down there, but now we can come in with the Morpeko, and I think I will actually just throw the charge tree straight away this time, just because that Clodsire doesn't really have a lot of fast speed pressure up against my Morpeko. So we go for the Aura Wheel, we get the KO, and we are going to see that the opponent's going to come in with a Shadow Golurk, so I definitely should have just committed to a shield and going for a ton of energy before throwing the charge move, but either way, the opponent's going to go for a Shadow Punch there. I should have thrown a charge move here. I don't know what I was thinking, and unfortunately, we're going to be down 2 shields at this point. I'm going to shield the Shadow Punch there. I can make it to back-to-back crunches, but I think the opponent does have quite a bit of energy already. They're going to shield that, and they will outpace me to the charge move as I go for good timing, but of course, it's not good timing when we don't get off the charge move, and now, unfortunately, there's just not a lot we can do here. We can bait with the Psychic Fangs, and if we can grab a shield, maybe we'd be okay, but unfortunately, you can see that is a CMP tie, so the opponent plays it safe. They use the shield there, guaranteeing the Sludge Bomb will KO, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG to opponent there. Into the next battle, another Clodsire in the lead. So going to say swap into our Crocodile once again, this time baiting out Greninja, and we're able to go straight for the Brick Break, and this is a matchup that we will win in the 2-shield scenario, or in the 1-shield scenario if they just let that first move go through. So I'm going to go shoot up the Hydro Cannon there, go for the Mud Slap farm down, we flip switch advantage, and now things are looking very good for us. Of course, they've got Clodsire in the lead. Are they going to come back in with it? No, they come in with a Sableye, and this is also perfectly fine with me. Going to go straight for the Crunch this time around. Crunch is going to be shielded. It drops their defense anyway, so it doesn't really matter if we went for a Brick Break or not. As we drop their defense, they do go for a Foul Play. They then swap into Clodsire. We can come in with the Krokorok, and the opponent is just going to concede the match there, realizing there's not a lot they can do, and we're able to take that game. So GG set up over there into the next battle. You can see Azumarill in the lead. They're going to say swap into a Shadow Grimer, and unfortunately they will be able to grab a shield advantage here, and my energy isn't going to be that useful up against the Azumarill, so maybe should have swapped into my Kroks just because, of course, we've only got resisted charge to throw into the Azumarill coming back in, and they can commit to a full bubble farm down from this range. So honestly, this is not looking that good for us because Azumarill, very dangerous with energy up against this team here. Of course, we do have Morpeko in the lead, which does well in even shield scenarios, but unfortunately, down a shield, this is not a good matchup. But I'm going to shield this up here, and I should be able to grab a shield from the Azumarill by going for a Psychic Fangs here, as the threat of an Aura will of course get the KO here. So going to go for the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs grabs a shield, and we do of course go for another Psychic Fangs straight away, getting there just before they make it to the next potential play rough, and we're able to grab both shields from the opponent. We then swap there. I was actually just going to fully sacrifice my Kroks, realizing that actually Morpeko might have some play in the end game as they double shielded their Azumarill, but unfortunately Ariados is not that ideal for us. I'm going to go straight for the Crunch. They have debuffed my attack, I believe, so Crunch is not quite enough damage to get the KO there. I figured there's no point farming them down because they can just come in with Azumarill, go for a play rough, but either way they actually get the perfect farm down and fire off a lunge into our Morpeko. So either way I played that, we would have lost, but GG's to that opponent there. Into next battle, we're going to see a Shadow Nidoqueen in the lead. Going to say swap, and we're going to see a Sableye responding now. I do not throw a Crunch straight away just because I realize it's not quite going to get the KO. So instead, I'm going to shield this just to guarantee I can win this in the 1 and 2 shield scenarios as well. Because if they have a foul play, possibly they could just farm me down. But now I go for an undercharge there, realizing they're probably not going to commit a shield, and they come in with a Gelatin. And this game is already looking over. We can just go straight for the back-to-back crunches because Surf does cost more energy this season. We're actually able to make it to another crunch here, throwing on the CMP die. Crunch is going to grab the final shield from the opponent. And this is certainly game over. The opponent going to go for a Surf there. We can come in with the Morpeko, and the opponent is going to stay in initially, then eventually swap into their Shadow Nidoqueen. We can now fire off a Psychic Fangs, which does a lot of damage there. We're going to swap into our Kroks, and I should be able to live an Earth Power, so I'm going to no-shield anyways. The opponent baits with his Poison Fang there. We get the Mudslap farm down, then come back in with the Jellicent, and I'm just going to no-shield this. Of course, Morpeko, very spammy, will be able to make it to the Aura Will before they make it to a Charge Move, and even if they do, we've got a shield anyways, but we go for the Aura Will, and Aura Will takes out the Jellicent, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.